Good morning, students. Yesterday we were discussing about elastic collision in one dimension, and finally we got the equation that is relating the velocity of approach to the velocity of separation, and we got the relation u1 minus u2 is equal to v2 minus v1. If you remember, u1 minus u2 is equal to v2 minus v1. So u1 minus v2 is relative velocity of approach. Relative velocity of approach before collision is equal to v2 minus v1. Relative velocity of separation after collision. So this is how we wrote relative velocity of approach before collision becomes exactly equal to relative velocity of separation of the masses, relative velocity of receding, relative velocity of recession, relative velocity of separation after collision. So this happens only in one dimensional elastic collision. This happens in elastic collision only. So if we take this ratio is called as coefficient of resilience, coefficient of resilience or coefficient of restitution. What is coefficient of restitution? Coefficient restitution or coefficient of resilience is denoted by E, is equal to ratio of relative velocity of separation to the relative velocity of approach. Relative velocity of separation by relative velocity of approach. So this is how we define coefficient of restitution. Remember, coefficient of restitution is the ratio of relative velocity of separation to the relative velocity of approach that happens before collision and after collision. So this is equal to 1 for elastic collision. Why? This is E equal to, from the above equation, v2 minus v1 divided by u1 minus u2. So this is equal to 1 for elastic collision, or you can say perfectly elastic collision. This is equal to 1. But this ratio will be less than 1 for inelastic collision, and this ratio becomes equal to 0 for completely inelastic collision. What happens in completely inelastic collision? Look here. In completely perfectly inelastic collision, if this is mass m1 and this is mass m2, after collision, if this is u1 and this is u2, after collision, both together, look here, attached together, move with common speed, same speed v. This is what we call as completely inelastic collision. Completely inelastic collision. So if you look at this, both the masses m1 and m2 are moving with the same speed. So what is the speed of separation? So if you take the difference, becomes 0. So 0 by anything becomes 0. Therefore, for completely inelastic collision, E becomes equal to 0 by U1 minus U2. That is equal to 0. So E equal to 0 for completely inelastic collision. But in all other inelastic collisions, in inelastic collisions, E is less than 1, greater than 0. E is less than 1, greater than 0. So remember this. This ratio is denoted by E, which is known as coefficient of restitution. So the question may be asked, prove that coefficient of restitution is equal to 1 in an elastic collision, one-dimensional elastic collision. Then you need to calculate all those values and you have to put this equation. Once you do this equation, then you have to define what derivation we had done in the previous video. That derivation you are supposed to do, and completely you have to get this equation. Once you get this equation, then we get this result. Then coefficient of restitution is this ratio. Finally, we get equal to 1. And for completely inelastic collision, it is 0. For all inelastic collisions, E is in between 0 and 1. It is greater than 0, less than 1. Okay. Now we will study a simple elastic collision in one dimension, wherein the particle of mass m2 is at rest. If particle m2 is at rest and m1 is moving with the initial speed u1 and collides with m2, what happens? If it is elastic collision, let us see. Consider the special case in elastic collision in one dimension when second particle m2 is at rest. m2 is at rest means its speed u2 is 0 and particle m1 is moving with initial speed u1, initial velocity u1 and collides with m2. After collision, the particle m1 moves with velocity v1, m2 moves with velocity v2. Now, since it is an elastic collision, momentum is conserved as well as kinetic energy is also conserved. So first we will write equation for momentum conservation. So equation for momentum conservation. Total momentum before collision, m1 u1 must be equal to, since m2 u2 is 0, so m1 u1, m2 u2 is 0, so I will write m1 u1 is equal to m1 v1 plus m2 v2. This is equation for momentum conservation. So from this I can write, taking this m1 v1 to the left hand side, I will write m1 v1 minus m1 v1 is equal to m2 v2. So this implies m1 into brackets u1 minus v1. u1 minus v1 is equal to m2 v2. Now we will write the equation for conservation of kinetic energy. Kinetic energy conservation. Half m1 u1 square plus half m2 u2 square becomes 0. So directly I can write this is equal to half m1 v1 square plus half m2 v2 square. Now since 1 by 2 half is common throughout, this equation can be further written as m1 u1 square is equal to m1 v1 square plus m2 V2 square. M2 V2 square. Next, I take this M1 V1 square to the LHS. So that implies M1 U1 square minus M1 V1 square is equal to M2 V2 square. Take M1 common. M1 into bracket U1 square minus V1 square is equal to M2 V2 square. So this I can write it as U1 minus V1 plus U1 plus V1. You see, A square minus B square is equal to A plus B into A minus B. So I will write as M1 U1 plus V1 into U1 minus V1 equal to M2 V2 square. So you can call this equation as second and this equation as first. Dividing equation 2 by equation 1. This is equation 1. Dividing equation 2 by equation 1. We get, look at this, M1 U1 plus U1 into bracket U1 minus V1 whole divided by LHS by LHS. As we did yesterday, same thing. M1 into bracket U1 minus V1 equal to M2 V2 square divided by M2 V2 square divided by M2 V2. So M2 cancels, M1 cancels. So U1 minus V1 cancels with U1 minus V1. V2 cancels with 1 V2. Thus we get finally, therefore, only you are left with U1 plus V1. U1 plus V1 is thus equal to V2 on the LHS. V2. This you can call it as equation number 3. Same procedure what we did yesterday. Same thing. U1 plus V1 is equal to V2. This becomes equation number 3. Now if we substitute this U1 plus U1 equal to V2 in this above equation, we can solve the equation for V1. Now next what we are going to do is, we are going to find out what is the value of V1 and V2 in terms of the known quantities M1, M2 and M1, M2 and U1. Substituting equation number 3 in equation of momentum conservation, M1 U1 plus M1 U1 equal to M1 V1 plus M2 V2. Substituting V2 in this equation. So we get M1 U1 plus M1 U1 equal to M1 V1 plus M2 V2. What is V2? V2 is equal to U1 plus V1. Expand this. After expansion we get M1 V1 plus M2 U1 plus M2 V1. Now look at this. LHS M1 U1 is equal to M1 V1 plus M2 U1 plus M2 V1. Now our task is to find out the value of V1. So take this M2 U1 to the left hand side. So if we take this, then we get M1 U1 minus M2 U1. What I have done? I have taken this M2 U1 to the LHS. M1 U1 minus M2 U1 is equal to m1 v1 plus m2 v1, so that I can find the value of v1, final velocity of the first particle. So if you take u1 common, then it becomes m1 minus m2 into u1 is equal to m1 plus m2 into v1. So this implies v1 is equal to m1 minus m2 divided by m1 plus m2, m1 minus m2 into u1 divided by m1 plus m2. So this is the equation number 4, that is final velocity v1 of the first particle. Similarly, I can get the value of v2 in terms of m1 m2 and v1, in terms of m1 m2 and v1. How do you find out v2? If you substitute the value of v1 in this equation of conservation, we get the value of v2. What is that v1 we get? Here in this equation, substitute the value of v1. Again, refer this equation, momentum conservation. In this, you substitute the value of v1. Substituting value of v1, that is equation number 4, in momentum conservation. Or in equation number 1, momentum conservation equation, or equation number 1, momentum conservation or equation, momentum conservation equation number 1. So if you substitute this, what do you get? We get m1 u1 equal to m1 into v1. v1 is m1 minus m2 into u1 divided by m1 plus m2 plus m2 v2. Take this entire term to the left hand side. If you take this entire term to the left hand side, you see it becomes simple. We want to find out p2. So m1 u1, so m1 u1 is common here. 1 minus m1 minus m2 divided by m1 plus m2, m1 minus m2 divided by m1 plus m2 is equal to m2 v2. m2 v2. So we want to find out the value of v2. Simplify this. After simplification, look at this. m1 plus m2 minus m1 plus m2. So I write here m1 u1 into bracket m1 plus m2. Step by step you carry out m1 plus m2 minus m1, minus of minus becomes plus m2 divided by m1 plus m2 is equal to m2 v2. Now you see m1 cancels. You are left with only m2. m2 plus m2 becomes 2m2. Therefore 2m2 into m1. So I will write it as 2m1 m2 into u1 divided by m1 plus m2 is equal to m2 u2, m2 v2, m2 v2, m2 v2. Take this m2 to the left hand side, so m2 cancels. You can look at this, m2 cancels. Thus we get v2 equal to, that is final speed of second particle. Final speed of second particle, v2 equal to 2m1 u1 divided by m1 plus m2. Simple. This is the final speed of second particle. Thus, we get equation number 4, final speed of first particle after collision, and we get v2, final speed of second particle after collision. Final velocity of m2, second, we can write directly m2, final velocity of m2 after collision, and this is final velocity of m1 after collision. It means we have calculated the values. Thus, unknowns. Which are the unknowns? Unknowns v1 and v2. Unknowns v1 and v2 are calculated using knowns. Which are the knowns? Using the knowns. Knowns are masses m1, m2, and speeds u1 and u2. So, if in a numerical problem m1, m2 masses are given and u2 is at rest, if u2 is at rest, then using the known quantities m1, m2 and u1, we can calculate v1 as equal to m1 minus m2 divided by m1 plus m2 into u1. v2 equal to 2m1 u1 divided by m1 plus m2. So these two equations, equation number 4 and equation number 5, are very important. We can call this equation number 5. Using this, we can have a special cases. What happens if the both masses are equal? Very interesting. If both the masses are equal, like billiard balls, if both the billiard balls are same mass, what happens if it is a perfectly elastic collision? Let us see. If both are of same mass, means if m1 is equal to m2 is equal to, let us say, m, then what happens? Equation number 4. Then equation number 4 and 5. Look at the equation number 4 and 5. Equation number 4 becomes 0. v1 becomes equal to m1 minus m2. m1 minus m2 divided by m1 plus m2 into u1. So m1 is equal to m2, therefore it becomes 0. So the first mass, first particle comes to rest. What happens to the second particle? Let us see. Using equation number 5. Equation number 5, I can write 2 into m into u1 divided by m plus m. m plus m becomes 2m. So 2m 2m cancels. 2m 2m cancels. So it becomes u1. Means v2 becomes equal to u1 and v1 becomes equal to 0. It means after the collision, the first particle comes to halt, second particle is pushed off. After collision, after elastic collision, the first mass comes to rest and second mass is pushed off with speed u1. Second particle is pushed off with speed u1. That is interesting case. This you might have experienced while playing marbles or while playing even carom also, while playing even billiards. Now case 2. Case 2 is also interesting. Suppose we are taking mass m2, very heavy mass. Suppose like we have taken a shot put ball. Suppose it is a very heavy shot put ball M2. M2 is very heavy at rest, and M1 is like you can say tennis ball or TT ball. It's moving with velocity v1. So in the second case, if M2 is very much large compared to M1, M2 is very large, heavy mass compared to M1. M1 is ignored. In such case, if M1 is ignored, what happens to equation number 1? Then V1 becomes equal to, look at this, M1 is ignored, so minus M2 U1 divided by M2. M2 cancels, so you will be left with minus U1. Means after striking this, the ball returns back with the same velocity, with the same speed, it returns back. This is what we observe. If you keep a heavy ball like shot put ball, and if you roll a tennis ball, the tennis ball after hitting the shot put ball returns back. Or if you take a tennis ball, a TT ball, table tennis ball, and if you roll it towards the shot put ball, after hitting the shot put ball, the table tennis ball returns back. You can imagine M2 as a wall. If you hit the ball on the ball returns back. That's what happens. V1 is equal to minus V1. What happens to V2? V2 becomes almost 0. So here, if you neglect M1, to M1, here M1 is neglected and it is taken 0, then V2 is almost equal to 0. Means the shot put ball is unmoved. The mass M2 is unmoved. These are the two special cases. Now what happens if it is completely inelastic collision? That is a very second interesting case. So we have studied elastic collision in one dimension. Now let us study completely inelastic collision, wherein after collision both the particles move with the same speed. Let us see. Consider completely inelastic collision in one dimension. Completely inelastic collision is the one after collision both the particles move with common speed. Both together move with the same speed v. This is completely inelastic collision wherein momentum is conserved but kinetic energy is not conserved. Momentum is conserved. Kinetic energy is not conserved. So such a collision is called completely inelastic collision. After collision, both masses move with same speed or same velocity. Now let us write equation for conservation of momentum. M1 U1 equal to M1 U1, because again we have taken M2 to be at rest. M2 to be at rest means its initial speed U2 is 0. M1 U1 is equal to M1 V plus M2 V, because both are moving with same speed. Momentum of first particle plus momentum of second particle, both are having the same speed. Therefore it becomes M1 plus M2 into V by taking V common. So M1 U1 is equal to M1 plus M2 into V. So using this I can write final speed of these moving particles. This implies V is equal to M1 U1 divided by M1 plus M2. M1 plus M2. Okay, you can call this equation number 1. Now I can calculate the loss in kinetic energy. You see, when kinetic energy is not conserved, initial kinetic energy before collision is not equal to final kinetic energy after collision, not equal, since kinetic energy is not conserved. Then what happens to this loss of kinetic energy? Initial kinetic energy will not be completely converted into final kinetic energy. There is some loss. This loss of kinetic energy is translated into other forms of energy like heat energy, sound energy, or spark, or even maybe deformation energy, even maybe deformation. So now let us calculate the loss in kinetic energy. The loss in kinetic energy. The loss in kinetic energy is calculated as the difference in kinetic energy delta K. Delta K equal to Ki minus Kf, initial kinetic energy before collision, and Kf, final kinetic energy after collision. So Ki I will write directly half m1 u1 square minus final kinetic energy half m1 plus m2 total mass, both together they move with common with v square. Now in this delta K equation, substitute the equation number 1. Substituting V from equation 1. Substituting V from equation number 1. Thus we get delta K equal to half m1 u1 square minus half m1 plus m2 into what is v square? V is m1 u1 whole square. m1 square u1 square, because v square is there. m1 square u1 square divided by m1 plus m2 square. Square is there. Therefore, now 1 m1 plus m2 cancels with this. So you are left with half m1 u1 square here, half m1 u1 square here. So I can take half m1 u1 square common. m1 u1 square you take common, you are left with 1 minus 1 m1 is left here, m1 divided by 1 m1 plus m2 is left here, m1 plus m2. Simplify this. Thus we get half m1 u1 square into bracket m1 plus m2 minus m1, m1 plus m2 minus m1 divided by m1 plus m2. So you are going to get a positive quantity